So what is an expression? An expression is a representation of a given scenario using variables, which are letters, and numbers. Expressions may contain variables, which are just letters. They can contain coefficients, which are numbers multiplying by variables. And it can contain constants, which are numbers without variables. And it will also contain some sort of operation. So when it comes to creating an expression, you need to know what your variables are going to stand for, because your expression is going to have variables and probably constants, but we need to know what those letters are representing. So in this case, I have pizza and I have burgers. So for me, pizzas, I'm going to represent with the letter P. P is my number of slices of pizza. And my burgers, I'm going to represent with the letter B for my number of burgers. So those are the variables that you have, and then you have to figure out, well, how many pizzas do I have? So I have 2 pieces of pizza, which I would write as 2P. P stands for pizzas, 2, because I have 2. B is my number of burgers. I can see I have 3 burgers, so I'm going to represent that with a 3B. And because I have 2 pizzas and 3 burgers, I'm going to put a plus sign in the middle here. Now, expressions can get a little more complex than that. Now we have 3 variables we need to think about. And when you use variables, you have to use different letters to represent different things. So P will still be my number of pizzas. B is going to represent my number of burgers. But this time I also have to have a variable for my sodas. So S will be my number of sodas. Once my variables are defined, I'm going to figure out how many pizzas I have. And I'm going to write that 2 pizzas, 2P. I'm going to look at my burgers. I have 2 burgers, so I'll do plus 2B. And finally, I have 2 sodas, so I'm going to put that together plus 2S. So 2 pizzas plus 2 burgers plus 2 sodas. This expression looks at the total amount of every quantity we have, and that's fine. There is another way to write an expression that's also equivalent to this, and that's what we're going to talk about next, where it says, can you write a different expression that's equivalent? When you look at this, it's not as easy to see, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rearrange that food to look a little bit different. I still have my 2 pizzas, I still have my 2 burgers, I still have my 2 sodas. I've just changed the order of things. And now, when I try to group them together, instead of grouping all my pizza together and all my burgers together and all my soda together, I'm going to try to create groups that are equal. Both groups have 1 pizza and 1 burger and 1 soda. So I can write an expression that tells me how many groups I have and what's inside each group. So since I have 2 groups here, that 2 is going to go outside my parentheses. Inside my parentheses, I'm going to represent what I have in terms of food inside each group inside my parentheses. So I have 1 pizza and 1 burger and 1 soda. This 2 means I have 2 groups that look exactly the same. So let's try one more here. So go ahead and define your variables. I've got moons and stars. So let's use S to represent my number of stars, and M to represent my number of moons. So let's look at the total number of stars I have. I have 3 stars, and the total number of moons I have is 6. So I'm going to have 3 stars plus 6 moons. When I go to look at this another way, remember we're not grouping all the stars together and all the moons. We're trying to create equal groups. So I can make 3 groups where each group has the same thing. Each group has 1 star and 2 moons. So the way I would write this, I have 3 groups, so my 3 goes outside my parentheses, and inside each group I have 1 star and 2 moons. Now these expressions that we have here represent what's going on in our pictures. Sometimes you're not going to be given pictures. You're going to have to look at these scenarios and figure out what they mean based on your variables. So P is the cost of a pizza this time, and D is the cost of a drink. When you look at these expressions, you're going to use this information to help you figure things out. So P equals $10. Well, P represents the cost of a pizza, so what that tells me is the cost of a pizza is $10, or one pizza would cost $10. When I look at this, it says 3D equals $4.50. Well, D is the cost of a drink, which means 3 drinks cost $4.50. And I can take that and figure out, well, if 3 drinks cost $4.50, then one drink is only going to be $1.50. And finally, you can use what you have here to help you solve problems. It says, can you make this expression into an equation? It's not an equation because it doesn't equal anything. So when we look at this, 2P means I have 2 pizzas and 2 drinks. So 2 pizzas, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at it like this. 2 pizzas. Each pizza is $10. Plus 2 drinks, I know each drink is $1.50. So 2 times 10 is 20. 2 times $1.50 is 3. So together it's $23. So 2 pizzas plus 2 drinks would cost $23.